for us of all the long periods of work that go into this festival, and I can only thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure I speak for all the members of the festival committee and others who've worked on this festival. I also want to thank the Athenaeum for their wonderful attendance to us, and to the White Elephant, with the other of our major sponsors. There are a number of sponsors and donors who are also mentioned in the back of our program, and I hope you'll take a look at that list and recognize them for what they do for our festival. They through their contributions, help to keep this festival essentially free, and for Nantucketers and for our visitors. And we aim to have that as our pattern for forever, if we can. I think the festival has been so fortunate to have so many supporters, both in audiences and in sponsors and donors, and it's a year-round operation now. We're under the Nantucket Book Foundation, and I feel that all of the work we do with the festival, or the work that we have done in the schools, is possible only because of the great energy we feel supporting us. At the end of her reading, Morgan Parker will be signing books over in this alcove over here. Also, at the end of the reading, she's agreed to answer a few questions if you have them. We hope you will turn off your mobile phones before we begin. And I just want to say a few words about Morgan's work. She's had 2 books of poetry out now. And the more recent is There Are More Beautiful Things Than Beyonce, which is a powerful collection of poetry. It's extremely diverse, and it's composed of some beautiful and heartrending poems. There are moments of great humor in her work. She is, to my mind, one of the most formidable new voices in this country, and I hope you enjoy her work. I was just mentioning to her that I've been spending a lot of time with one particular poem in the collection, and it's a poem called "These Are Dangerous Times, Man," and it's a if I can find it, it's a poem that I think I see in it, in the first half of this poem, a kind of plan or design of some of the methods of composition of poetry, and the second half of the poem is kind of a realization of those, and a kind of seeing the struggle that those ideas have in the world. And I was particularly enamored of one little passage in the poem, and it's just this. She says, she writes, while tree trunks grow into their pleats, I continue to respect unwritten codes. And it's I love that passage. I love the use of the word pleats for trees. And it also it reminded me of a passage in Andre Malraux's Anti-Memoir, which was a fairly popular book about 35 years ago, and in it, one of the Malraux's one of his meetings is with a shaman of a tribe whose land was being threatened by the beginnings of modern development, and Malraux asked the shaman what he could do to forestall what looked like impending disaster, and the shaman said, "They'll be powerless against the magic trees." And this line reminded me of that, and just reminded me of the power of poetry and the range and beauty of Morgan's work. So would you please welcome Morgan Parker?
Hi there. Oh, there's a script. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna read it. Hi, I'm Morgan. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's wonderful to see a lot of brand new faces. I'm gonna start by reading some poems from a forthcoming collection that'll be out next year, and then I'll close with some poems from There Are More Beautiful Things Than Beyonce. Thanks again for being here. Why not start at the beginning? This first poem takes its title from a line in Zora Neale Hurston's autobiography, which was then repurposed by the artist Glenn Ligon in a visual painting, and I decided to honor both of them with it. I feel most colored when I am thrown against a sharp white background, after Glenn Ligon, after Zora Neale Hurston. Or I feel sharp white, or colored against, or I am thrown, I am against, or when white, I sharp, I color, quiet, forget. My country is a boat. I feel most colored when I swear to God. I feel most colored when it is too late, when I am captive. The last thing on my mind is death. I tongue elegy. I color green because green is the color of power. I am growing two fruits. I feel most colored when I am thrown against the sidewalk. It is the last time I feel colored. Stone is the name of the fruit. I am a man, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a man, I am a woman. I am protected and served. I background my country sharp in my throat. I pay taxes, and I'm a child, and I grow into a bright, fleshy fruit. White bites. I stain the uniform. I am thrown black typeface in a headline with no name, or no one hears me. I am thrown bone, unarmed. I feel most colored when my weapon is I, when I get what I deserve, when I can't breathe, when on television I shuffle and widen my eyes. I feel most colored when I am thrown against a mattress, my tits, my waist, my ankles buried in. White ash, everyone claps. I feel most colored when I am the punchline, when I am the trigger. In the dawn, putrid yellow, I know what I am being told. My country pisses on my grave. My country bigger than God, elegy my country. I feel most colored when I am collecting dust, when I am impatient and sick. They use us to distract us. My ears leak violet petals. I sharpen them again. Everyone claps. This one also takes its title from a piece by a visual artist. I'm not a visual artist myself. It's pretty abominable what I'm up to. So, but I spent a lot of time with visual art and am very interested in the process of looking at art and kind of rendering it with words. So this poem comes from a piece by Adrian Piper. Everything will be taken away. You can't stop mourning everything all the time. The 90s, the black Maxima with a tail, CD wrappers, proximity to the earth, glamour and sweating in your sheets, speaking tongues, men even. You are a woman now, but you have always had skin. Here are some ways in which you are not free. The interiors are all wrong. You are a drought, sprawling. When you see God, you don't like what you see. It is never enough to be born again and again. You like it at church when strangers hold your hand. You have a mouth men bless. You look good enough to bury. Super happy book I wrote. Continuing with that. The High Priestess of Soul's Sunday morning visit to the Wall of Respect. The Impressionism wing strikes me as too dainty for my mood, except for one oil painting by Gustave Caillebotte, Calf's Head and Ox Tongue, which is described in the wall text as visually unpleasant. A bust of an African woman bums me out. This year, I cried at everyone's kitchen table. I spit on the street and was late on purpose and stepped in glass and my dog died and I saw minuses over and over. I'll figure it out. I let a man walk away and then another one. It has taken me exactly this long to realize I could have done something else. I'm being repetitive now, but do you ever hate yourself? Again, casual, I'm totally fine. I'm under the care of doctors. Let's see. So this forthcoming collection will be out next year. It's called Magical Negro. And so it's kind of like a recurring theme throughout the book, Magical Negro number 217 and Magical Negro number 1. This is Magical Negro number 84, The Black Body. It's a thing you hear a lot, especially in literature, academics, like this, the body. You know, I went to grad school, and there was a lot of talk about the body. Often I'm thinking, whose? What body? Give it a new verb. Stop writing poetry. Go outside. Make blood. The body is a person. 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 Frederick Douglass has been here, so I'll read this poem. Who were Frederick Douglass's cousins and other quotidian Black history facts that I wish I learned in school? I have a body. It sits in a desk. Every day is bitten with new guilt. My teacher can see right through me all the way to Black History Month. It is my fortune to be ashamed and from nowhere. How can I concentrate on photosynthesis when there is a thing called Africa? When my teacher talks about slaves, I become a slave. I know too much. I raise my hand. American flag and family tree. Is it my fault my stomach aches? I wait in my desk and try to be still. I lie and immediately confess. I grow a plant in a paper towel. I get in trouble for talking. At recess, I pretend. The mountains are closing in. I am good, but too curious. What happened to the Indians? How do we know about heaven and dragonflies? Where did Harriet Tubman sleep? Who did Harriet Tubman kiss? What about the Africans that stayed? Why are they so hungry? Did Frederick Douglass's mother brush his hair in the morning? Was he tender-headed and afraid? Is this how I'm supposed to feel? Are you sure? How do you know? All right, I'll do one more from this book and then move on. Great America, where even in death, in miniature carved stone, some display in a dark hallway at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, we never escape the fucking guy on the street when I'm just walking to the gallery to meet a friend who could be a lover in a different eclipse season, because this one is about destruction. It makes you say, stop looking at me, when I ask to be a vindication. It is about a heat wave that drives out the sort of company I want to write spells for, say indefinite, as if it were a word with any real concept behind it, as if it had any context, as if there were any imagination left from the fall of our stinking expanse of sweat and dahlias and war times and insects and escapes and sinkholes and caves and patterns and jokes and consumers and televisions and invisible numbers and scandals and every kind of boat and religions and mammies and world champions and natural disasters and spooks and illegals and casseroles and celebrity baby names and prizes and trophies and wives and discounts and loans and skin bleaching and civil rights and McNuggets and shipping containers and emojis and slurs and amendments and disco albums and priests and maps and security systems and galas and job titles and car mufflers and good deals and altars and defunct social networking websites and brothers and niggas and magazines and grudges and watermelons and conspiracy theories and colleges and special editions and deluxe editions and Holocausts and relief workers and con artists and domestic partnerships and rubies and law firms and elegies and Uncle Toms and neighborhoods and excuses and police procedures and plastic bags and mosques and raccoons and skeletons and hate groups and negotiables and investigations and blind dates and types of cancer and ways to kill yourself and forms of identification and fetishes and Bibles and consumers and performances and wedding venues and livestock and macchiatos and epiphanies and names, when it could have been an otherwise easy day. That specific fucking guy on the street whose eyes prick and ravage as he says, Nubian. I used to live in Brooklyn, so that's, shout out to short season in Brooklyn. No one leaves you alone. All right, so I'm gonna read, let's see, start at the beginning. I always say, if you can make it through like the first 5 poems in my book, like like I'm warning you. It's like, this is, do you ever hate yourself? Like I put it all up front. So I started this collection with a poem whose the title is all caps. It's all they want is my money, my pussy, my blood. I am free with the following conditions. Give it up, gimme. Okay, so I'm black in America, right? And I walk into a bar. I drink a lot of wine and kiss a black man on his beard. I do whatever I want because I could die any minute. I don't mean YOLO, I mean they are hunting me. I know my pussy is real good because they said so. I say to my friend, I am broke as a joke. I'm starving like Marvin Gaye. I'm so hungry I could get it on. There's far too many of me dying. The present is not so different. Everybody looks like everybody I worked with. Everybody looks like everybody I kissed. Men champion men and animals. Everybody thinks I'm gonna die. At the museum, I tell the school group about black art. I tell them the word contemporary. I have a nose ring I forget about. I have a brother, and he is also black. I'm a little modern to a fault. I say, this painting is contemporary, like you and me. They ask me about slavery. They say Martin Luther King. At school, they learn that black people happened. The present is not so different. I'm looking into their black faces. They do not understand that they exist. I'm black in America, and I walk into a bar and drink a lot of wine, kiss a white man on his beard. There is no indictment. I could die any minute of depression. I just want to have sex most of the time. I just want my student loans to disappear. I just want to understand my savings account. What is happening to my $5 1 cent? I am free with the following conditions. What is happening to my brother? What if I do something wrong? My blood is so hot and wet right now, I know they want it. I do everything right just in case. I don't want to give away my money, but here I am. It's so stupid, I have to say, here I am. They like to be on top. I am being set up. I am a tree, and some fruits are good and some are bad. Do you guys know about Hottentot Venus? If you don't, you could just look it up. I'm not going to give you a history lesson, but this poem is called Hottentot Venus, and it's for her. I wish my pussy could live in a different shape and get some goddamn respect. Should I thank you? Business is booming, and I am not loved the way I want to be. I am an elastic winter, sympathy and shock, addictive decoration. In the sunlight, my captors drink African hibiscus. They tell me I look regal bearing fruit. I am technically nothing human. I will never be a woman. Somewhere in my memory, I was held by a man who said I deserved it. Now I understand. No one worries about me because I am getting paid. I am here to show you who you are, to cradle your large skulls and remind you you are perfect. Mother America, unleash your sons. Everything beautiful you own. This one goes out to TSA agents everywhere, the world over, who are very interested in my hair. Even when they can see to the scalp, it's a little, I don't know what they're looking for. They don't like it when you joke with them, by the way. If you guys haven't tried, don't do that. Don't do that. Once they were patting me down and the woman was like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I do have something. And she was like, what? I was like, a bra. What do you think? Your hands are on my body. Like, you can feel. There's nothing else there. Anyway, she did not think it was funny. Afro. I'm hiding secrets and weapons in there. Buttermilk, pancake cardboard, boxes of purple juice, a magic word our Auntie Angela spoke into her fist and released into the hot black evening like gunpowder or a cool. 40 yards of cheap wax prints, the autobiography of Malcolm X, a Zulu folktale warning against hunters drunk on polo shirts and Jägermeister, blueprints for building ergonomically perfect dancers and athletes, the chords to what would have been Michael's next song, a mule stuffed with diamonds and gold, Miss Holiday's vocal cords, the jokes Dave Chappelle's been crafting off the grid, sex and brown liquor intended for distribution at Sunday schools in white suburbs, or in other words, exactly what a white glove might expect to find, taped to my leg and swallowed down my gullet and locked in my trunk and fogging my dirty mind and glowing like treasure in my autopsy. I'll read this one just for Dick. These are dangerous times, man. Do you know what I would do with the glory of everyone? I would set it on my tongue. I've been meaning to sing this against chamomile hissing up from the grates, not because it is dark, but because of how I interpret the rules. While tree trunks grow into their pleats, I continue to respect unwritten codes. The world would crumble without my unwavering sacrifice. I try to write a text message to describe all my feelings, but the emoticon hands are all white. White wine, white flowers in a river, some plantation stuck in my teeth like a seed. I think the phone is racist. The phone doesn't care about Black people. The phone is the nation that loves the phone. Otherwise, my feelings are unable to be expressed. A white thumb pointed down. You are everything good. I suck color out of the night, and then your finger bones. We become a beautiful collection of knots trembling on the floor. I need to know what it feels like to be softened. Tender fillet on a fresh wood block, small, warm body in a field, unitching. Our bodies never synchronized enough. This is kind of a long one, but you guys will be okay. And you'll know when it's close to ending. This poem's called 99 Problems. I wrote this poem so quickly. When I was done, I was like, I could go on forever. I have so many more problems. 1, playing house, I was adopted. 2, or the dog. 3, I understood. 4, they made me the wild creek between class clown and most unique. 5, the chocolate anything. 6, one afternoon, the dog killed a bird in our garage. 7, he brought it to my feet. 8, in the Bible, every wing is real. 9, I could be a witch. 10, dating. 11, dating. 12, it is impossible to always be touching. 13, 250 to unpack this. 14, 60, a bag to heal. 15, inhale, heal. 16, oppression. 17, oppression. 18, oppression. 19, oppression. 20, defense. 21, teaching. 22, listening. 23, never knew him. 24, my Nana packed the slow car alone. 25, picked 6 honey heads from school. 26, drove until the sky turned. 27, a new state. 28, I don't know anything else. 29, it doesn't matter. 30, I wake up not sure I want to. 31, I don't know how to explain. Every wish is an ice cube I swallow whole. 32, it is important for me to say I'm okay. 33 through 35, fucked a white boy. 36 through 42, American history. 43, where are you from? 44, Prozac wait. 45, Thomas and I got pulled over in Bed-Stuy last Saturday night. 46, we were in the back of a cab. 47, taxes. 48, the wilting planet. 49, sometimes I forget to take my pills. 50, I do it on purpose. 51, I can't feel anything. 52, a clean body is like a lake. And I'm some shit that bodies are sunk into. 53, prison industrial complex. 54, nonprofit industrial complex. 55, marriage industrial complex. 56, landlords. 57, nigger. 58, okay Cupid. 59, white saviors. 60, karaoke. 61, limited cocktail shrimps. It's never enough. It's like, it doesn't matter how many, there's never. 62 through 70. Please check all that apply. Panic attacks, hopelessness, decreased socialization, guilt, general overwhelming stress, suicide attempts. 71, are you okay? 72, Tyler Perry. 73, hangovers. 74, the Western concept of time. 75, food deserts. 76, James Franco. 77, okay, I drank too much. 78, again. 79, it is impossible to always be taking a lavender bath. 80, men at intersections. 81, men in smoky formations. 82, men in the waiting room. 83, men at Popeyes. 84, men on my skirt. 85, Mercury retrograde. 86, my dog eats a lipstick. 87, subjectivity. 88, no. 89, where are you from? 90, lost records. 91, my real name. 92, fitting in. 93, uninterested sex. 94, teacher called me Sheila. 95, Sheila was the other black girl. 96, Sheila hated me. 97, what we mean by come up. 98, be strong. 99, I'm tired. I'll just close with this poem that the title comes from. I don't know why I always say to audiences that I wrote this poem in the bathtub. Like, it just feels significant to say that. Please wait, or there are more beautiful things than Beyonce. Please wait to record Love Jones at 8:48 Saturday on BET until your life is no longer defined by Beyonce. Ants crawling over fallen leaves and little pieces of dog shit. Empty chicken boxes glowing with the remembrance of Greece. There are more beautiful things than Beyonce. Self-awareness. Leftover mascara in clumps. Recognizing a pattern. This is for all the grown women out there whose countries hate them and their brothers, who carry knives in their purses down the street. Maybe they will not get out alive. Maybe they will turn into air or news or brown flower petals. There are more beautiful things than Beyonce. Lavender, education, becoming other people, the fucking sky. It's so overused because no one's sure of it. How it floats with flagrant privilege and feels it can ask any question. Every day its ego gets bigger and you let that happen. But one day, your shit will be unbelievably together. One day you'll care a whole lot. You'll always take vitamins and exercise without bragging, and words will fit perfectly into your mouth like an olive soaked in gin, the glory of an olive soaked in gin and its smooth smallness. A gloss will snowfall onto your cheeks, the top of your lip. The sidewalks will be the same, evidenced. Combing your records, you'll see the past and think, okay, once I was a different kind of person. Thank you all so much. Can I sit while I answer questions? Feel weird. Does anyone have questions? I kind of don't want to like stand. I'll sit down. Do you have questions? You can ask me anything. I'll unfortunately say anything. So. We're digesting. That's a lot. I know. Hello. Thank you. I don't know how much time we have or anything. Hi.
Well, I'm sorry I don't know more about you, but where did
You know plenty. Now.
what community did you grow up in?
I grew up in a small suburb in Southern California, about an hour and a half from LA. Yeah. And then I left as soon as possible when I was 18 and moved to New York, and I lived there for 11 years. So that's where I kind of like became a human person, I guess. Hi. I'm confused.
Did you always write? Were you always a writer?
Yeah, I was. I didn't write poetry until very recently, actually. Wasn't until college because poems are boring and I don't like them very much, you know? And I think they teach poetry like backwards. It's like you have to read someone named Longfellow before you get to contemporary poetry, and I don't know.
Yeah, you say that because I was thinking to myself, I have this image of poetry, and then I hear your work, and it's like, oh my God.
I know, I'm always like, don't, just ignore the poetry label, because you're thinking about a log cabin, I think, and like, I don't know what a pasture is, you know? Like, but I always wrote, I'm like an obsessive kind of collector of thoughts, and I recently was going through like all my, what I call archives, which other people call garbage. I have a whole closet for them. I've been writing like autobiographies since I was a kid, you know, just this is my experience, this is how I feel. That's always kind of been my preferred mode of communication. So I did always know I was gonna be a writer. I assumed poetry wouldn't be part of that. And yeah, it's only now that I've just written a novel and I'm working on some other projects. So yeah, I don't know, poetry just kind of, there's a lot more room to play. I'm a person who, it's hard for me to follow rules. So poetry, you can kind of break all of them, which is exciting.
What is the meaning of where are you from for you?
So for example, the first time I went to Paris, there was this guy who was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "America." And he was like, no, but like, where? And I was like, "California?" And I was like, "My parents are from Kentucky." Like, I was just really trying to give all the, and he was like, no, but like, in Africa. I was like, I don't know. You know, like that, I wish I knew. And I think it's a complicated question. Obviously, the absence of papers, the absence of a direct line of ancestry for Black Americans is really tough. And I also think, you know, there's a constant, where are you from? It can't be here. You know, that's what that question implies. I'm like super duper American. Like the more I, you know, exist in this world, the more I realize I am 100% a product of America. And yet, there is another place that I'm from. But I don't, you know, I don't have access to the answer. So I do find, I don't know, it's a really oppressive question, kind of. It's very loaded. It's not so simple as answering California. Why is that not satisfying? I don't know, but yeah. Hi.
You mentioned Fats Waller in one of your poems, Aimless Behavior.
Oh yeah, that was, yeah.
Are you a fan of that music?
Oh yeah, I love jazz. I'm like 65 at heart. I'm like, I haven't listened to anything that like post 1980 in like a while, you know? Like, I wanted there to be a lot of jazz in this book, and really I was thinking about, a lot about Ella Fitzgerald, and Billie Holiday shows up, and there's some Coltrane in there. Really, I like the idea of a jazz standard, and I love different versions of the same song that kind of get the artist's flair and flavor, and so that's something I love about the jazz tradition, the kind of improvisation that it encourages. How is my fiction different from my poetry? It's not that different. It's not that different. I mean, I just completed a novel. It'll be out at the next fall. It's a young adult novel. And it was like pulling teeth for me to write it, between me and my agents and now my editors. I love a sentence. And I was listening to the author before talking about, I just write out the story first. That's the first draft. I can't do that. My agents were like, just finish the story. And I'm like, but a sentence, and I have to, every word. It took me a long time for that reason. But the attention to language is there. And in that way, the poetry never really leaves. But the inclusion of dialogue is, I don't know, I kind of do have that in poems also. Telling a story is something that a poem does, something that a collection of poem does, a chapter, a whole book, you know, so thinking about storytelling and narrative on a larger scale was really a different thing for me, and really interesting. And thinking about kind of like plotting a narrative and sneaking in little things here and there that's gonna stretch through the whole book, rather than in a poem, you can kind of be very succinct and say a lot of things at once. So with fiction, I just spent a lot of time kind of stretching out all of those things. So I did want to say a lot of things at once, but really to kind of let it breathe. But my book is about me growing up as a teenager, and it's like about depression, and it's funny, and it's horribly dark. So, you know, it's similar.
Your poetry is very much the way you speak. So it feels like poetry listening to you. So.
No one has said that to me before. I'm gonna tell my mom you said that.
I think that's about it. I think we're...
Thank you all.